near his recliner in the living room. He had obviously been stabbed multiple times in the back of the neck with kitchen knives still sticking out.
Happy Halloween, everyone!
It's apparent that the female victim has attempted to barricade herself in the bathroom.
And again, the knives were sticking out of the back of her neck.
A rookie cop is initiated into the reality of violent crime and the trauma it inflicts.
That one I had a little PTSD. Obviously, I've never been exposed to that before.
4 years later, Bizarre will be instrumental in a case so bizarre and macabre that it will eclipse that horrific rookie discovery and shake the town of Jackson to its core. Kevin Lloyd Arts, known by his nickname Kip. He is the owner and head chef of the popular restaurant Kip's Pizza Taco House. Patricia Ann Powers, known as Patty. When she meets Kip, she has one daughter from a former abusive marriage. When Kip and Patty meet, things start to change for the better for both of them. And after Patty's bad marriage, her family is delighted to see Patty happy again. The two wed and operate the restaurant together. Kip is the chef, and Patty is head waitress and runs front of house. Their restaurant and home are attached, so they never have far to go and are always together. Time passes in much the same way, and after being together for 12 years, friends and family say they've never seen a couple so happy. The couple decide to throw a big roast barbecue for the people they love. And having access to their own commercial kitchen, Kip and Patty are ideally situated to host. But immediately after the barbecue, Kip begins experiencing severe headaches. Patty wants Kip to see a doctor and have it checked out, but without health insurance, Kip is reluctant. But Patty convinces him. The doctor has shocking news. Kip has a large blood clot on the right side of his brain and will need emergency brain surgery. On June 29th, 1999, Kip is admitted to hospital in Jackson to remove the blood clot in his brain. Patty has no choice but to shut the restaurant while Kip, the restaurant's chef, is incapacitated. Patty did not have big when restaurant reopened for cash. The blood clot is successfully removed from Kip. Kip Concern over Kip's condition grows. As Kip's father notes, his son doesn't know what color his clothes are. But Kip is in the care of Patty, his loving wife. Kip will have some much-needed time at home to rest and recuperate. Patty is left entirely alone to care for Kip in their combined home and restaurant, which is usually bustling with customers. In a punishing gift of weight, Patty is found much. Until she senses something is terribly wrong, and the exhausted woman has only seconds to react.
Have you compared your Medicare plan recently? With eHealth, you can compare Medicare plans side by side for free. So we invited people to give eHealth a try and discover how easy it can be to find your Medicare match.
This is pretty amazing.
Very helpful. So that's covered. I love that. I can go on a vacation with this money.
I have quite a few prescriptions.
That's why people call us. We're going to compare these different plans, and I'm going to try to get you as much bang for your buck as possible.
That's great.
This one here covers all your prescriptions, your doctors as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a hard time with this.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Based on our conversation today, I would highly recommend this plan.
That sounds very good.
Are we happy with our selection?
You're so helpful. You don't know.
Perfect. I'm excited for you, sir. Again, my name is Sham. If you have any other questions, give me a ring.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, that was super easy.
Just for 2025. Maybe it feels like you pay too much for too little. Maybe your current plan is changing, or your needs are changing, or you simply have questions. Either way, eHealth can help. Just call this number or visit eHealth.com before December 7th. Compare plans that cover your doctors, your prescriptions, your pharmacy, and your budget. Compare your current plan to newer plans and benefits. And compare plans from the nation's top insurance companies, including Humana, United Healthcare, and more. They pay us to help you find a match. That's how eHealth is always a free service.
Well, today you guys had the eHealth experience together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
How much do you think you'll be able to save using eHealth?
At least $300 a month.
Would you say you found your Medicare match?
Yes, I did. What Sam did, she explained to me exactly what I need to know.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Cham, come on out.
Oh my goodness! It's a pleasure to meet you today, sir.
What does it feel like to be face to face?
You helped me out quite a bit.
I'm very happy that we got connected today. Now it's your turn. Call to meet your advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose. Ask them about eHealth Live Advice or get started on your own at eHealth.com. See if you could get more for less with eHealth, like these folks did.
The savings are unbelievable.
I was impressed with how much coverage you could get.
I could see the costs side by side. This made it so much simpler.
My advisor, he answers all my questions.
eHealth is wonderful. $1,200 savings in my pocket. I was really pleasantly surprised with that.
Call 1-800-586-0117 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
If you're over 50 and can't work due to physical or mental health problems, you may be entitled to Social Security disability. Call Disability Help today. If you can't regularly lift over 10 pounds, or if you can't stand all day long, you may be eligible for disability benefits. Disability Help today connects Social Security disability applicants just like you with representatives nationwide. Call now.
Jackson, Michigan. Population 33,534. Living in a diversified commercial and manufacturing center with ties to the auto industry. The cost of living is low. The air quality is good. With a small town feel. It's an ideal place to run a nice little restaurant. But on this night, these restaurant owners are vulnerable and alone, and the unthinkable is happening. Patty has been nursing her husband, Kip, who's just had emergency brain surgery to remove a blood clot. It's not unusual for Patty's family to talk to her every day. So after the surgery, when no one has been able to get a hold of Patty or Kip in 2 days, they become concerned. Patty's sister Cynthia decides to pay them a visit and check things out herself. Much to her surprise, since Kip is there recuperating from major surgery, no one answers her knock. But as she's about to leave, Kip answers the door. Kip tells Cynthia something that shocks her. That he and Patty got into a fight, and Patty took off in their Lincoln to visit someone. But Cynthia knows that Patty sold the car. With Kip's odd demeanor and his lie about the car, Cynthia believes that something is very wrong.
Alarm bells are going off for the family because of the lie about the car. But was it a lie or was it just confusion? They know he hasn't been himself recently because of the recent brain surgery. And if an accident happened in the home, he probably wouldn't be able to deal with it on his own. They also know that the doctors ordered him to stop taking his medication cold turkey, essentially, prior to the surgery. So they don't want to see him get himself into trouble. Because of a chemical imbalance that was essentially not his fault. He's not taking his medication, so things aren't the same for him right now.
In addition to the facts, the family has extra concerns. Dark undercurrents to the marriage exist that only those who are close to Patty know. Kip and Patty have had marital problems in the past. But for the moment, they just want Patty located. Patty's family contacts the police.
They were concerned about her whereabouts and felt that she may be injured or hurt inside of the restaurant someplace. We had called the brother's house and made contact with Kip's sister-in-law and said, we'd like to meet Kip at the restaurant. So Kip was sitting in the vehicle in the front of the restaurant by the front door. So I made contact with him sitting in the car, and I just said, hey, I'm here to make sure that Patricia's okay. So he reluctantly went to the front door of the restaurant to let me in. When he started to put the key into the door, his hands were shaking. And then he said, I can't do this. And he turned around and he went back inside of the car. So I went back over to him and I said, let's just look in the restaurant. She's not here, right? Nope, she's not here. Okay, let's just look in the restaurant, make sure she's okay, that she's not here, and then we can get out of your hair and they'll leave. You can go to your brother's house. Reluctantly, he got out of the vehicle. And again, his hands were shaking, but he opened up the front door and I followed him into the restaurant.
The men enter the restaurant, but Kip does not turn on the lights. Bizarre looks for the body of Patty. Still in darkness, Kip leads the officer into the kitchen area.
When I walked into the kitchen area, I noticed there were some paper towels that had been sitting on the floor. It looked like it had dried meat blood on it, the kind of stuff you would if you were, to open up a package of raw hamburger. That's what it kind of looked like to me.
And then next to it was a large garbage can, which had some of the same type thing in it. Well, the restaurant had been closed a couple of weeks. I had known that, so I thought that was kind of strange, but maybe not out of the ordinary for a restaurant.
Officer Bizarre has one last look for Patty, but he sees no sign of her. Kip's family take him into their care until Patty comes back. Patty's family talks to Bizarre, and the more they tell him, the more concerned he is for her safety. Bizarre consults with Detective Tom Fierro about events at Kip's restaurant.
And I told him my concerns and what my feelings were, and I told him I think we need to go back in and look a little more closely inside the restaurant.
Officer Bizarre arranges with Kip to meet at the restaurant at an arranged time later that day for further inspection. Then, Officer Bizarre and Fierro get an idea to return to the restaurant before the arranged time so they can look around before Kip gets there. But when they arrive early, the officers get a big surprise. They're not the only ones who have arrived early.
He was carrying a cardboard box and then turned and walked away from us to the front of the building and disappeared around the front of the building.
Kip doesn't know it, but whatever he's come back early to do is now being observed by police. They learn that Kip has come back early to tidy up. The kitchen was never properly cleaned after the big pig roast he and Patty had hosted before his emergency surgery.
His demeanor had totally changed. He was a lot more open, a lot more friendly than he was the previous time.
Kip agrees that Officer Bizarre can look around. Bizarre moves methodically toward the kitchen area.
So what I immediately noticed inside the kitchen was a large pan, a stainless steel like baking pan, and it had cooked on meat all over the inside of it. And I thought, well, it could be part of a pig roast. I don't know.
In front of the washer-dryer area, Bizarre sees foam littering the floor.
Inside of the dryer, it looked like there was foam or something in there. So I looked in there, and it was just chunks of foam. It was like somebody had stuck a pillow or something in there, and it disintegrated inside the dryer.
During his search, Bizarre finds a purse. Then he realizes he may be able to confirm it belongs to Patty. Bizarre sees that Patty's sister Cynthia has arrived outside, and she may recognize the handbag.
So now I knew that she hadn't left because she didn't leave her purse here. So I thought, at this point, I'm outside already. I'm going to go find out where this box was that Kip was carrying. There was a dumpster, and I opened up the dumpster thinking it was going to be in there, and it was empty. So I thought, well, where in the world could he have put that box? So the only other place he could have put it was the neighbor's house on the front porch. I saw the box sitting there. When I opened up the box, there was a clear plastic bag. And then inside the clear plastic bag, I can clearly see a human head, which had appeared to be, cooked. So at that point, I knew I had found Patty and that she was no longer missing.
Bizarre calls for more units to come and lock down the crime scene.
I immediately went back and made contact with the detective, and I called him away from Kip. And I said, I found her. She's in that box that he was carrying. He goes, are you sure they had a pig roast here? And that, you sure that's not what it is? I know, I'm positive that's what it is. There was still hair. The skin looked like it was crispy. You could still see your eyes clearly, and you could still see the skin, but it still had some. You could tell it was a human face. Obviously, it looked like it had been cooked.
The officers take Kip into custody.
Crime scene investigators use luminol to detect if there is any human blood within a scene. Luminol interacts with the iron in hemoglobin and gives off a blue hue, which indicates that there is blood present even though a victim's blood may have tried to been cleaned up by the perpetrator. Luminol will indicate that there is blood even though if it wasn't visually present by our eyes. It makes the invisible visible when it comes to blood.
And the garbage can glowed in the center of the room almost to the point where it would light the room up.
When luminol was used in this case, it showed that there was blood present in multiple locations. The locations within the carpet in front of the couch, and present on the kitchen floor and the kitchen counter, and there was enough blue hue within that kitchen to make it glow.
It's likely that Kip kills his wife Patty while she's lying on the couch, hitting her in the head with a hammer.
The importance of you trying to find out the patterns of blood, and that's when they rely on blood pattern and splatter specialists within police departments to determine where the victim sustained all of their injuries, and then how the victim was moved from that location and suspected to have been taken into the kitchen where a lot more blood was located through the luminol. The fact that all of the blood and the blue glow from that luminol indicates that there was a very morbid and graphic scene, and that the victim ended up being dismembered within that kitchen area. When you come present onto a scene where there is suspected to be a deceased body, and there is luminol that is glowing and blood patterns that are present, why would an individual take the time to wash items in a washing machine? That would be a red flag, thinking that they were using items and trying to get rid of some of the evidence that were present on those items. So that all would have to be captured by the forensic identification team and gone through to see what type of evidence he was trying to destroy on those items.
Kip dismembers Patty's body and bakes the bones and boils and cooks the remainder in the oven for what is estimated to be about 40 hours. Investigators find several axes that are suspected to have been used to chop Patty's body into pieces.
When a body has been found to be dismembered, an autopsy by a forensic pathologist occurs to make sure, for example, that the bag of bones and flesh that were found are actually human, and they do match the dismembered head that the police found. So the DNA and all of that needs to match to make sure that we don't have more than one body at a scene and more than one victim.
Rumors spread that the newly dubbed deep-fried killer, Kip, has served his wife to restaurant patrons. But this horrific and bizarre case is about to get even stranger. 2 weeks prior, body parts of another woman are found in several locations in Ann Arbor. Thomas Kraft of Swanton, Ohio, faces trial for aggravated murder and dismemberment of his wife, Lynette. Is it possible that Kip has another life that no one is aware of? Is he, in fact, a copycat killer?
Whether you're a professional driver or just a fan, vehicle breakdowns are costly.
It started tugging.
It started making some really weird noises. The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
If your check engine light comes on tomorrow, the repair could easily cost thousands.
Is that transmission?
It's an exhaust leak.
Broken axle.
But with Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
I had a seat sensor that went out, $1,400. Endurance paid it.
We got a brand new transmission, and we never seen the repair bill.
Use any certified mechanic you want. Just bring your car in, and Endurance will pay them direct. All major parts are covered.
What I like about Endurance, they don't play games. There's no middleman. They're a solid company.
If I didn't have Endurance, I would have paid over $7,000 out of pocket to repair my vehicle. Something is going to break down. Make Endurance pay for it.
With Endurance, your car repair costs go way down, while your car's life expectancy goes way up, allowing you to drive more and pay less.
One claim alone saved me more than $4,000.
I've had 5 claims, and that is $3,500 that I've kept in my pocket.
So, who's going to pay for your next car repair? You or Endurance?
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's less than 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan covers 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country. Call right now to get $300 off any plan, plus a full year of our top-tier elite benefits, a $2,000 value free. And all Endurance plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you have to act now. Call 1-833-496-5765 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5765.
Hi, I'm John.
Hey, I'm Janine.
I'm Steve, and I've been a Consumer Cellular customer for 8 years.
3 years.
11 years.
When they asked me if I want to be in a testimonial commercial,
I said sure.
I said sure. I said sure.
But I got a tournament to get ready for.
Not if the fish are biting.
But it's a beautiful day. We started looking for another provider primarily because we felt like we were paying way too much.
I chose to switch because of the savings. It was amazing, way cheaper than where I was.
I could hardly believe that my bill was so small. I'm paying less than $30 a month. It's a great service for a great price.
Unlimited talk and text with flexible data plans starting at $20. Plus, for a limited time, new customers save $50 when you sign up today.
The place that I live in is heavily forested. There's a lot of trees. What got me to be a customer, really, to tell you the truth, was the reception and the coverage of Consumer Cellular.
I travel a lot. I need coverage, no matter where I am. And whether I'm in Augusta, Georgia, or Pebble Beach, California, I know that I'm going to be covered with Consumer Cellular.
I love to go far away places, remote places. I haven't had trouble with coverage, no direct calls.
Consumer Cellular offers fast, reliable nationwide coverage. Plus, for a limited time, new customers save $50 when you sign up today.
When we switched over from Verizon to Consumer Cellular, it was a really painless process.
Just kept the same phone. I kept the same number.
Anytime I call customer service, it's US-based.
It's nice to know when I have an issue that I can have a real conversation.
Customer service has been great. I just get a bill at the end of the month. It's on auto pay, and it's super easy.
And as AARP members, we also get a nice discount.
That's right. AARP members receive a 5% discount. Make the switch now to the most awarded brand by J.D. Power. New customers save $50 when you sign up today.
Call 1-800-279-2213.
Or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Coming up next on True Crime Network. A call about a missing family member leads Jackson, Michigan officers to an unspeakable discovery. Kip Arts has murdered and dismembered his wife, and attempted to dispose of her by cutting her into small pieces and breaking down the body by cooking her. Is Kip a copycat killer inspired by the recent Thomas Kraft killing and dismemberment of his wife Lynette?
The Kraft murder is another seemingly happy couple with hidden undercurrents to their marriage. In June of 1999, just prior to Patty's murder, pieces of Lynette Kraft's body were discovered. The feet were discovered in a garbage bin outside a fast food restaurant, and the severed head was located in a landfill. This occurred in the very nearby Ann Arbor, Michigan, and likely Kip would have heard the story and the details in the news, so it raised the question of whether this may have been a copycat of some kind. At the end of the day, however, no clear association was ever made between the two cases.
Most people who knew Kip and Patricia both said how nice people they were, and that Kip was a really nice guy, and they couldn't believe that it happened.
Over the course of their 12-year marriage, countless people would have gone through the doors of their taco restaurant. Many of them recounted the fact that it was a peaceful and enjoyable place to eat, and they all commented about the love that Kip seemed to have for his wife. Often investigators will go to the people who are closest to the victim to see if there are any underlying secrets.
Investigators speak to the family of Patty Arts, and the picture of this harmonious marriage comes into clearer focus. In the distant past, while in a rage, Kip tries to smother Patty. Kip seeks help, and with medication, the couple find a way to stay together. But neither are happy. Kip is often suspicious of Patty. There is ongoing marital tension because of Kip's use of marijuana and alcohol. When Kip returns home from the crisis of emergency brain surgery, Patty expects to be caring for him and nursing him back to health, but his behavior is largely unchanged. Patty is angered and concerned that post-surgery, Kip will not alter his marijuana and alcohol habits despite the stress and worry she and the whole family have experienced. His paranoia about Patty's phone use continues. When Kip and Patty throw the pig roast, it's a major source of conflict between the couple. Kip is furious about the expense, but to make matters worse, the corn they purchase is infested with bugs, and Kip and Patty argue. The party is a success, but behind the scenes, it's a far different story.
By the end of the night, their kitchen has become infested by bugs. And Patty uses bug spray to try to fumigate the room. And this enrages Kip.
Immediately after the fumigating incident, Kip learns about the large blood clot on the right side of his brain. At first, the couple are afraid. Then, fear turns to blame. Kip is convinced that his exposure to the bug spray triggers his blood clot, and it's all Patty's fault. The violent marriage stories are just a prelude to the strange and horrific end to Patty Art's life. Kip claims that when he is left alone in Patty's care after his brain surgery, he has an unnerving belief that Patty has become a threat. She leaves him in bed and lies down on the couch. But Kip gets up and pursues her, finds a hammer and raises it.
The jury will hear that on the night of the murder, Kip saw the devil staring back at him. He didn't kill his wife, Patty. He killed the devil.
Have you compared your Medicare plan recently? With eHealth, you can compare Medicare plans side by side for free. So we invited people to give eHealth a try and discover how easy it can be to find your Medicare match.
This is pretty amazing. I can go on a vacation with this money. I have quite a few prescriptions.
That's why people call us. We're going to compare plans, and I'm going to try to get you as much bang for your buck as possible.
That's great.
This one here covers all your prescriptions, your doctors as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a hard time with this.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Based on our conversation today, I would highly recommend this plan.
You're so helpful. You don't know.
I'm excited for you, sir. Again, my name is Sham. If you have any other questions, give me a ring.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, that was super easy.
See how your Medicare plan stacks up with the big changes for 2025. Just call this number or get started at ehealth.com. Compare plans that cover your doctors, prescriptions, pharmacy, and budget. And compare plans from the nation's top insurance companies. They pay us to help you. How much do you think you'll be able to save using eHealth?
At least $300 a month.
Would you say you found your Medicare match?
Yes, I did. What Sam did, she explained to me exactly what I needed to know.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Cham, come on out.
Oh my goodness. It's a pleasure to meet you today, sir.
What does it feel like to be face to face?
You helped me out quite a bit.
Call to meet your advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose. Ask them about eHealth Live Advice or get started on your own at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service. See if you could get more for less with eHealth, like these folks did.
The savings are unbelievable.
I could see the costs side by side. eHealth is wonderful. $1,200 savings in my pocket. I was really pleasantly surprised with that.
Call 1-800-568-2261 or go to ehealth.com to compare Medicare plans in your area.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
Police discover Patty Arndt murdered and dismembered, and her body cooked by her husband Kip in their restaurant. Their marriage seems like a good one, but close family members reveal that the relationship can veer from dysfunction to violence. Evidence clearly establishes that Kip kills and dismembers his wife and goes to great lengths to cover his tracks. At trial, defense maintains that the defendant is mentally insane and not responsible for his actions.
In order for a finding of not guilty by reason of insanity or by mental disorder to be rendered, the defense has to show that mental illness profoundly affects the accused's reasoning process. So in this case, because there's evidence that Kip recently had brain surgery, that could be a fairly compelling argument.
Kip regularly takes antidepressants to treat his depression and stress, and is told by his doctor to stop taking his medication at the time of his surgery. Defense argues that because Kip isn't allowed to taper off his medication, this results in dangerous mood swings. The prosecution does its best to minimize this theory, but there's no way to know how the jury will swing.
Well, I'm obviously not a doctor, so I don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on people, but I do think that whether he was temporarily insane, obviously he was insane to do what he did.
Numerous family members and friends see Kip after surgery. Descriptions range from dazed, dopey, and childlike to conscious of what's occurring.
The defense calls a team of medical experts who testify that Kip lacked the capacity to appreciate the nature, quality, and wrongfulness of his conduct, and has an impaired ability to think in a logical and rational manner. The defense stresses to the jury that Kip killed her because he believed she was the devil, or says he killed her because he believed she was the devil, which is relevant to their argument of not guilty by reason of insanity because it could potentially be evidence of psychosis.
The prosecution shows evidence that in 1992, Patty consults a divorce lawyer due to physical and emotional abuse in the marriage. Although they found a way to continue on together, the problems never stop. The marital tension due to Kip's alcohol and marijuana use is ongoing. Evidence shows that less than 1 year before, Kip speaks to a David Whiting because he wants Patty to come up missing. Kip asks if Whiting knows anyone who could do it. Kip tells Patty's son-in-law about how Patty can push his buttons and asks him if he ever feels like killing his own wife. Kip speculates on how much it would cost to hire a killer. In the 1980s, it is shown that Kip has a conversation with a friend about the capture of a serial killer. During the conversation, Kip says that he can commit a perfect murder by cutting the victim up, boiling the meat so that the corpse will not stink, and then throwing the meat into a dumpster, like all restaurants do. The physician's assistant who treats Kip has yet more damning comments. He reports that post-surgery, Kip is still angry about the bug spray, and he still blames Patty for his brain surgery. Kip is also furious about the way Patty babies him post-surgery.
The prosecution is able to call a